The night of the 2022 Academy Awards was already one of the most dramatic in Hollywood history, but years later, a new revelation has completely changed how fans are looking at one of its most emotional moments. When Liza Minnelli appeared on stage beside Lady Gaga to present the award for Best Picture, the world saw what looked like a beautiful exchange between two generations of icons, a legend being supported by a global superstar. The audience gave Liza a standing ovation, Gaga leaned in with warmth, and the internet crowned the moment as one of the most touching in Oscars history. But according to Liza Minnelli's upcoming memoir, the reality behind the scenes was very different, and deeply painful. Liza claims she was not gently guided into that wheelchair as viewers believed. Instead, she says she was ordered to sit in it, not even asked. The decision, she recalls, was presented to her as a condition for appearing on stage at all. She had originally planned to sit in a director's chair, something that would have allowed her to maintain eye level with the teleprompter and deliver her lines with confidence. The wheelchair, she says, changed everything. It lowered her position, made it difficult to read, and left her feeling exposed in front of millions. For a performer whose entire life has been defined by control, presence, and precision, that loss of control was devastating. She describes the moment not as a celebration, but as one of the most vulnerable experiences of her career. Imagine being a living legend, walking into one of the biggest stages in the world, and being told you must appear in a way you did not choose, or not appear at all. For Liza, it wasn't about the chair itself. It was about dignity, and then came the interaction with Lady Gaga. At the time, viewers praised Gaga for her kindness. She held Liza's hand, reassured her on stage, and helped guide her through the presentation. The clip went viral as a symbol of compassion. But in her memoir, Liza suggests the moment felt very different from where she was sitting. She says that when she stumbled over her lines, something she attributes to not being able to see the teleprompter properly, Gaga stepped in a way that felt performative rather than supportive. She recalls the now famous, "I got you" moment not as a quiet act of help, but as something that played to the cameras. Still, even in recounting the experience, Liza remained gracious. After the ceremony, when Gaga came to her dressing room to check on her, Liza simply told her she was a fan. That response, she explains, comes from a lifetime in show business and from the lessons she learned from her parents, Judy Garland and Vincent Minnelli, about maintaining grace under pressure. That detail says everything about who Liza Minnelli is. Because this isn't just a story about an Oscars segment. It's a story about legacy, respect, aging in Hollywood, and the way icons are treated behind the scenes. Liza Minnelli is not just another celebrity. She is one of the last living links to the golden age of entertainment. An Oscar winner, a Tony winner, an Emmy winner, a Grammy legend, the star of Cabaret, a performer who spent decades commanding stages across the world with unmatched energy. For someone with that history, being told how she must appear, for safety or image, touches on a much bigger issue in the industry. Her account also raises questions about how moments are packaged for television. What the audience saw was a perfectly framed narrative, the young superstar helping the fragile legend. But what if the truth was more complicated? What if the legend didn't want to be seen that way at all? The story doesn't turn Lady Gaga into a villain. In fact, Gaga has long been known for her respect toward Liza, even inviting her to concerts and publicly calling her an inspiration. The two have shared admiration for years. That's what makes this revelation so shocking, not because it exposes a feud, but because it reveals how two people can experience the same moment in completely different ways. And then there is the Academy itself. Liza's claim that she was ordered into the wheelchair shifts attention toward the institution and the decisions made behind the curtain. Was it truly about safety? Was it about optics? Or was it a misunderstanding that spiraled into one of the most talked about moments in Oscars history? Fans are now revisiting the footage with new eyes. What once looked like a flawless, heartwarming exchange now carries an undercurrent of tension. The way Gaga leans in. The way Liza looks up. The slight hesitation in her delivery. Small details that once felt emotional now feel layered with new meaning. Yet through it all, one thing remains unchanged: the audience's love for Liza Minnelli. When she appeared that night, the Dolby Theatre rose to its feet. That standing ovation was real. It wasn't about a chair, a script, or a camera angle. It was about a lifetime of brilliance. About a woman who defined an era of performance and continues to be adored across generations. And maybe that is the most powerful part of this entire story. Because even in a moment she now describes as heartbreaking, the world still saw her as what she has always been, a legend. This memoir revelation doesn't erase the beauty of that Oscars appearance, but it adds depth, complexity, and a reminder that what happens on stage is often only a fraction of the real story. Hollywood thrives on perfect images. Liza Minnelli's truth reminds us that behind those images are real emotions, real decisions, and real people trying to hold on to their dignity in an industry that constantly refrains them. And now, years later, she is finally telling the story in her own words. Not as the woman in the wheelchair. Not as the fragile icon. But as Liza Minnelli, the performer, the survivor, and the legend who still knows exactly who she is.